I looked this way and that way, didn't see any traffic, so I stepped into the street and a taxi came around and knocked the briefcase into my legs, flipped me up in the air. I hit the top of the taxi, flew off the taxi, landed on the curb with my ribs, then bounced into the street with the wind knocked out of me. And they thought I was dead. So a bunch of people apparently got around me and picked me up, pushed me in the back of the pickup. I started gurgling because I'd had the wind knocked out, so I wasn't dead. And once I woke up, I said, I'm okay, I'm okay. And Shauna, what's her name, she would say, Barb, you are not okay. And so I had to stay in the hospital and have blood drained from my lungs for a couple of days and get my breathing back. And 2.5 years later after that, I was having trouble breathing, and nobody could figure out what was wrong. So finally it was discovered that a minuscule little hole like this had developed in my aorta, and I had a fairly large aneurysm right here on the descending aorta and had to have surgery right away. And when you hear the word aneurysm, if you know anything about them, you know it's like a time bomb ready to go off in your brain or in your stomach. And that's the end if it blows. And so you do think about, I think you do think about eternal life at that point. But I told the doctor, the surgeon, before the surgery, they have you sign the paper, you know. You could die, you could be paralyzed, or you could lose your voice. And I looked, my mother was with me at the time in the exam room. And I said, well, doctor, I know where I'm going, so I'm not afraid to die. And my mother's like, no, no, no. I know my parents were nervous. And I had a lot of people praying for me, too, because I think the Lord uses those times to quiet us and calm us. And Jesus certainly understood what pain was about, so he's a good person to talk to about it. And because I was sure that I was going to heaven, that if you have a personal relationship with Christ, you know Jesus is representing you before God. And it's very comforting when you know where you stand with God. It's a little more peaceful than if you're not sure what's going to happen on the other side. If the surgery is going to be bad, you're going to be in a better place in heaven than you are down here suffering from the results of a surgery gone bad or that's not going to last for very long. So when you know where you stand with God and you know what Jesus did for you, then you could have the same assurance that I had when I was going through that difficult time. So it makes me smile.